Increased foreign investments in Africa is detrimental to our economic growth, and that is the motion here at the debate circle for today. Proposing and opposing this motion is Mukumu Boys High versus Mukumu Girls.
Honorable judges, esteemed opponents, valued audience, I stand in affirmation in the motion today that says investment in Africa is detrimental to the economy, to the economic growth. This issue is not merely theoretical. It affects millions and shapes our future. So, let us engage thoughtful and seek the truth together. I go by the name Daniel Kulemo, representing Mukumu Boys High School. Before I highlight my points, let me define the keywords in this motion. What is a foreign? This in or from a country that is not your own. Investment is the act of investing money in something. Detrimental, this means harmful. Economic, connected to trade, industry, and development of wealth of a country. Growth, an increase in economic activity. On to my first point, job displacement. Foreign companies may import their own labor. Examples of these foreign companies, we have Deloitte, we have Amazon, we have Walmart, we have McDonald's. And these, when they come with their own labor, it is hard for the local workers in the country to be employed in such companies. And what is the solution to this problem? Our government should come up with policies, terms and conditions, and contracts for these companies, that these companies may also favor the local people. On to my second point, debt dependency. The CRBC, China Road and Bridge Cooperation, is funded loan by its government, by the China's government. And all of us, we know most of the roads we have in Kenya are made with the Chinese. Our expressways, our highways, they're made of the Chinese. So the Chinese or the CRBC depends on us to pay the debt. And do we really want such a government? Do we really want such an economic status in our country? I won't rest my case. I'll continue climbing up the mountain till you come and join us. Game on.
Judges and juries, my audience, I just realized something this morning. I guess you don't know what. I realized that the motion that we are having is quite simple, yet it's a bamboozling one. I don't know if you're getting to the bottom line of it, but it is not yet over until it is over. I go by the name of Shenzen Gift from Team Phoenix, from the Sacred Heart Mukumu Girls, hereby oppose on the motion that states increased foreign investment in Africa is detrimental to our economic growth. Foreign investment. Foreign, it simply means something that is not of our own. Investment is engaging in an act that will, at the end, give us money. Detrimental will simply means something that is harmful or damaging. Economic growth is something associated with trade or business that will end us having finance. Job creation. What's happening right now in different parts of the country? We have the problem of unemployment. From ChatGPT, a report from Saifat Galal, we find that 80% of the people in Africa are employed. Why can't we give this opportunity to the foreign investors so that they come to our own country to invest in it, so that through their businesses we can create employment to them? Like recently, we had the youths, that's the Gen Z, proposed, like they were rioting over the finance bill. It is like they have various reasons on the finance bill. One of them, it's unemployment. No matter how the tax is raised high, but what are we suffering right now? We don't have employment. That's why we are having the youths rioting over the finance bill, because even if you raise the taxes, we don't have the money, we don't have the income to earn from it. So we should increase the rate of foreign investment in our country, because the local businesses are not helping in any of the ways. We have the local businesses, but they're not helping us. So we should increase the rate of foreign investment in our countries, in our African countries, so that we can help the youths majorly, and of course other people. But my main focus is about the youths, and most of us here are youths. So we are focusing on the future that you're going to have. Why should we live with these local businesses that they're not helping us in any way, yet we are the ones who are suffering? So let's focus on what we have. As much as both of us have facts and evidences, but let's look at the concrete of it, and let's focus on what will befall us on future. Thank you.
Judges, opponents, and my audience, greatness stands before you. I, Ilondanga Dismas, representing Mukumu Boys, would strongly like to propose the motion that goes foreign investments in Africa is determinal to economic growth. Let's look about the first speaker from my opponents just stated about the raising of the tax, yet no jobs. Do you know that for tax to be collected, they are collected in different levels? For example, the employed are taxed more higher than the unemployed. You get that? For example, a lawyer won't be taxed the same way a nurse is taxed. That's how the government has tried to emphasize on this. On to my first point about supporting the motion of foreign investments is debt accumulation. Debt accumulation due to the construction, infrastructural in Kenya and other African communities or nations. For example, China, for example, Niger, and also Kenya. You can see that there are very investments, and due to this economic borrowing of loans from the developed countries, for example, USA, China, you can see that there is development in our country. For example, the Thika Superhighway. Do you know that it is the most expensive road that has been built in Africa right now as we are speaking? As we are speaking, Kenya owns China $17 billion as we are speaking. If you see that, how will it be able to pay the debt? On to my second point, unequal development. You will find that development is majorly based in urban centers. What about the local centers or the rural centers? This leads to the rural-urban migration. So if we do these investments, we need to look at it. For example, if we try to look at Kenya, in Nairobi, it's so developed. You can't compare Nairobi and Vihiga. Why? These foreign investments have led to this unequal development. On to my third point, corruption. As we are speaking right now, corruption in Kenya is the leading. After, you look at, for example, Nigeria. Nigeria is the leading in corruption, then followed by Kenya. Where is our country heading to? For example, in Nigeria, there is corruption in oil. Being a leading producer of oil, there is a lot of corruption. For example, the money earned from the oil is yet supposed to do some foreign investments and projects, but yet the leaders tend to take the income and do it for their own benefit, hence leading to corruption. Limited job creations. Limited job creations, for example, the foreign investors will import their own labor into the African nations. For example, they're going to import, for example, let's say a watchman or a watch girl. they won't come with, they will employ the Kenyans. But if you look at the high standards of the jobs, they're going to take their own. One team, one dream. Individually a drop, but together we're an ocean. I, Londanga Dismas, won't rest my case until you join us and take Kenya into a far country and nation.
Judges, fellow parliamentarians, I salute you all. Wow, quite a strong yet irrelevant point. So I'm here to oppose the motion that states increase foreign investments in Africa is detrimental to our economic growth. What do you understand about this? We are saying that if we increase foreign investments in Africa, it will not detriment our economic growth. We can see that if Africans invest in us, we will have high chances of employment among the youths, as my first speaker had said. Okay. My first proposition team, you see that taxation, we won't have, tax among the, business, each level, tax is tax. We are all suffering because of tax, so don't tell us nothing here. Okay, to my first point, capital inflow. We can see that when the foreign investments invest in Kenya, the Kenya is improving its development, its infrastructure. We can see you're saying that the roads, something of such. You use those roads to travel every day, yet you complain, so please. COVID-19 period, during the COVID-19 period, all of you remember, right? Kenya, we were suffering, but we invested among the foreigners. They helped us cure this disease, help us. The foreigners contributed 329.41 billion billion. This amount is really high. It helped Kenyan a lot due to their investment with these foreign countries. So we are saying that if these foreigners invest with us, we are saying that we will improve as Kenyans. All of you know Kenya is a very corrupted country. Not only Kenya, but also other African countries. We are saying that we shall improve infrastructurally. Okay, for example, you've had the school, the Sacred Heart Mukumu Girls, right? That school, the first people to come to that school was from Deutschland. Hope you know that. They have created a school. It's helping students study hard and hard. It's helping students become better people in the future. So these foreign investors are not bringing harm to our country or any other country apart from Kenya. It's rather bringing improvement in this country. Recent reports by the CBK, the CBK, Diaspora Remittances Hill, these people have really helped us a lot. They are really helping us. I will not rest my case. As you have said, game is on, it's on, and we will win this battle.
It's always refreshing to hear opinions that challenge conventional wisdom, and yet they don't have factual support. In front of you is Omia Raphael, representing the team Shakers from St. Ignatius Mukumu Boys, ready to propose the motion that says increased foreign investments in Africa is detrimental to economic growth. Second speaker, we are talking about Africa, not only Kenya. So, exploitation of resources. Let's take a look at a country in Africa, the Democratic Republic of Congo. We all know what is happening there currently. The foreign investors in the Democratic Republic of Congo have exploited the resources in the DRC, and yet the compensation rate that they are compensating the country is at a low rate. That's why the economic status of the country are low right now as we're speaking. I don't know if you know about that. taking a look at the Human Rights Watch December 2018, it was evidence that the exploitation of resources due to these foreign investors in Africa. Second point, environmental damage. Foreign countries may not follow the rules since we know that humans are greedy for money. So, since this is not their home, they don't benefit us, they don't think about us, they think about themselves. So they don't follow the rules, leading to environmental damage in the country. Whereby, if we take a look at, as I was doing my research, Greenpeace, August 2021, taking an instance of a country like Ecuador, whose environment has experienced environmental damage over recently due to these foreign investors. My third point, resource costs. Countries rich in natural resources may not experience economic growth due to these foreign investors who mismanage, and due to mismanagement and corruption, these foreign investors engage in corruption so that they can invest themselves. Let's take a look at Nigeria right now. Nigeria produces oil and they're facing cases of corruption, and these foreign investors, they are not fair in the Delta, in the Niger Delta where the oil is mined, and now this leads to lack of growth due to these foreign investors. Today, I therefore firmly propose the motion that says increased foreign investments in Africa is detrimental to economic growth. Game over.
Round of applause.
Did you know that courage is to stand and speak up audibly? Or courage is also sitting and listening attentively? Here, it's Vanessa Shihafu, representing Sacred Heart Girls Mukumu. First of all, before I start on representing, you claim that they don't tax the same, all of us, right? But let me ask you, although they're taxed at a lower price, you don't tell me that that tax sits to pay, you're paying. How can you pay on something yet you don't have a source of income? Then, up to you. The same way I've talked about Nigeria is the same way she has given an example with Kenya. She wasn't exactly meaning that we're talking about Kenya. Okay, now I'm opposing the motion that states increased foreign investments in Kenya is detrimental to our economic growth. And to my first point, economic diversification. First of all, let me inform you, it's the process of shifting an economy from single income sources towards multiple sources. Okay, when foreign investors come to our country or to Africa, they help us in very many ways. Majority of the Africans, they were used to one method of doing things. Either they were used to farming or they were used to keeping of livestock. But once the investors come into our country or into the continent, that's Africa, they help us in very many ways. They teach us very many things. If it's farming, they teach us that you cannot only farm on maize alone, rather than they teach us very many other things. For example, if you study history, it's said that the maize was introduced by a foreign country. We didn't know about the growth of maize, right? We were only used to these other things. We didn't know about the growth of things like coffee, tea, we never knew about them. But due to foreign investments into our continent, they really helped us a lot. Okay, an example, okay, I've already given my example. Then other point, improved standards. When foreign investors come to our country, they help us in very, very many ways. An example is, if in case we were, how will I frame it? We were having our company, right? In this company, we are used to, for example, if we are used to manual work, but once the investors come to us, they give us many, many things. They give us machineries, they give us new seeds, as I had pointed out earlier. For example, we have the 1 Acre Fund Company, which was started by Eric Pullman. Eric Pullman, this company, when it invested into one of the nations, it brought better seeds, better storage facilities for the countries, which they never knew previously. That is something that most of you don't notice. And, you know, when you look at these foreign investors, we're benefiting. Like, when they come to us, Here we're like, we used to use the method. Let's say with method, if it is manufacturing of tea. Okay, if we're used in manufacturing of tea, we were used to drying it on direct sunlight, but they brought new methods of doing it. They showed us using machineries, we can manage it. Okay, here that was my point, and I am here to say, instead of just, okay, I know we all have points and we all have facts, but just join us. Thank you.
The panel of judges, I thank you for engaging us to the discourse of today. And as I stand here, I'm very sad, very sad, very sad, very sad, very sad. My opponents are out of motion. So firstly, as my member, we talked about debt dependency. We talked about job displacement, corruption. All of you want to live in a better nation. I know all of you want Kenya to grow economically. And I will urge my opposers to join us and fully join us and support us in this motion that says investment in Africa is detrimental to economic growth. Thank you.
Round of applause.
Well, coming back again, let's go back to what the motion said. The motion said that foreign investment in African country is detrimental to our economic development. Everything has a positive and a negative effect out of that. Even the local businesses, we have it causing harm to our country right now, all of the countries in Africa right now. So please, and you being a sad man, you're trying to convince us to join you. Yeah, we are not here for emotions. We are here to provide our opinions so that we can really weigh on what is on the good side and what is on the bad side, focusing on the future events. So please, I just pray to the Almighty God that all of us here see on all the points that we have and focus on what will happen in future, especially to our African countries. Thank you.
All right, let's appreciate both teams. We're saying increased foreign investment in Africa is detrimental to our economic growth. Fairly strong cases raised, but then which are these areas that I wish both teams could have improved? So I'm going to go to specific debaters, beginning with the Mukumu boys. Daniel Kulemo. Daniel, you spent a lot of time defining the terms before hitting the nail on the head. That ate into your time to make your presentation. So one of the good qualities of a debater is also to take note of the time. Definition of terms. Actually, it is definition of key terms. You don't have to define every term in the motion, just key terms. Like here we're talking about increased foreign investment. Just talk about what is foreign investment, what is detrimental, and economic growth, period. So that you don't go ahead and talk about what is increased, what is Africa, and all that.
Thank you all for that amazing debate. Just a point of correction for both of you. Ensure that the examples you give connect to the motion. That helps you raise a case and helps you bring your rebuttals in a way that resonates with the judges. I understand you have research teams. Don't just get points from your research teams without understanding what those points are and without connecting the examples those research teams gives you to the motion and to your arguments. I wish you all the best.